Quickie here. Gonna get through some notes here. Game theory. So, like, what is operating in society at any given minute? What is really driving? What's happening? Why is it happening? Okay. Um, there's one professor out there who's pretty popular online who thinks that you need to consider it in terms of game theory. One way to understand that is remember the paperclip analogy? A lot of people, when they talk about AI, they talk about this paperclip machine. The idea is that if you create a really powerful computer, turn it on, and it's programmed to make things into paper clips, it'll just run that program and turn the whole world into paper clips. Then you'll just be left with a bunch of paper clips. Every resource, everything has been used. It's all been turned into paper clips because that's what the program said to do. Well, game theory kind of says whatever the incentives of the game that's being played are is kind of driving the outcome. So in other words, if the game incentivizes you to collect dragon heads or something, or if it incentivizes you to wait and make friends or something like that, so you have more friends at the end of the game and not less stuff. What the game incentivizes you to do is what happens. And so, like in society, you have kind of a short-sighted culture of greed and temporary gain, and what you need to do as an individual in order to win is to have status, to gain status, and to have rights and status and sort of enough wealth for yourself to have that, to back other people off, have your own rights, have all that stuff. And that's kind of how you win the game. There's no part of building a community or anything that wins the game. It's all kind of individuals competing against each other. Anyways, game theory, it's this game theory thing. It's really interesting. I think it is a good way to analyze kind of what's going on. What is programmed for the computer to do? When you turn it on, it's going to try to do that. What's society programmed to do? What are people trying to do? How do you win here in this game? That's an interesting way to look at it, and I think it's a good one. I think it should be put into the analysis. Oh God, okay. Renee Nicole Good. Oh man, this continues to blow up. This is the blow up thing of today. This is Renee Nicole Good is actually eclipsing Venezuela and Iran. Okay, so but anyway, so what if somebody asked, or I maybe asked this, I don't know. I wrote this anyway, I don't care. What if Renee Nicole Good were shot by a Somali in Minnesota? Imagine if she had been stabbed by DeCarlos Brown Jr. What would the reaction be then? Yeah, so everyone really is going to remember and say and focus on Renee Nicole Good. They're going to be really triggered by what happened to her one way or the other. It seems like the event itself is kind of designed to make you triggered. It's also not super clear. So there's enough room there on the edge of that SUV where the cop decided to stay in front of the SUV on purpose. And then Meg looks kind of like she tried to ram him, and she was a lesbian and all that. So that's why of course, the conservatives don't like her. So it's vague enough that there's room to form two sides. We're back on the two sides thing. We're back right at COVID. We're stuck. Psychological operation cannot talk to each other. Cannot talk. COVID. Oh my God, you're killing grandmother. Ivermectin's a horse dewormer. COVID. Oh, you're all wrong. It's all a conspiracy, whatever, So there's two sides. There's always two sides, and no one agrees. And that's what's happening again today. Renee Nicole Good was not shot by a Somali refugee or a immigrant or anybody else that the media can easily try to hide and ignore. She was shot by a white man, ICE agent, quote unquote, ICE man. And so everybody's just super triggered, maximum trigger right now. And Sonics, let's see. I'm in Jack. Spaces in between. Okay. The left didn't care about Irina Zarutska. She's the young Ukrainian white woman who was stabbed by a larger black male on a train. The image of that went out all over the internet. It was used to trigger your mind and make you scared and racially triggered, but it's not resounding in any kind of way that has any empowering or informing aspect to it. And in fact, they were kind of like, "Oh, don't look at that. Let's try. Can we hide that footage?" You know, the mayor's like, "Oh, don't let that get out there. Let's suppress that. Let's don't let that get out there." So we're not talking about Irina Zarutska. Nobody seemed to care much about Irina Zarutska. She was killed by a big black man, so can't talk about her. And also Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk got shot. What did the left? Where was their outrage for that? For a man getting shot on camera in front of his family, in front of the whole country. Got just getting blatantly murdered in front of us for saying, "Here I am. I'm asking some questions on a college campus." He got shot, right? And the left, not only did they not mourn his death, not only were they not sympathetic to his family and all that kind of stuff, their first reaction was, "Pah, you deserved it, you pig, you conservative racist pig, you Nazi fascist, you deserve it." And that was their reaction. That's basically the reaction of the left to Charlie Kirk, okay? That's kind of sad. So that's why we're in a really vulnerable space right now. The left didn't care about Austin Metcalf. Okay, whatever. The left didn't care. National Guardsman shot in D.C., but they burned cities over a woman who tried to kill ICE agents. Okay, so that's where this poster here, but they burned cities over a woman who tried to kill ICE agents. See, that's where that all falls apart. That's where Alex Jones, the whole conservative, the whole right wing, everybody on my thread today from conservative Orange County, my Orange County friends and friends down there, everybody that's all over, gee, that woman deserved it. She was trying to ram that pig. She's trying to ram that cop. She's that brutal, angry lesbian, hates men. We're trying to ram whatever. Just stuff's just all over the place, like hating on her. And then Alex Jones has to point out she's a member of ICE Watch, and you have the right to do that. In fact, I think you should be watching ICE because they're the ones violating the Constitution, you numbnuts. But anyway, this is getting spun all out, and people have two sets of facts. So people on one side, you kind of can tell that the guy was kind of putting himself in front of the SUV on purpose. He had a chance to step aside. He could have stepped aside. He didn't have to put 3 bullets in his head. If you're a law enforcement professional and you think in that situation all you can do is put 3 bullets in a woman's head, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what kind of law enforcement professional you are. I have some training in this. I'm a bit of a first responder. I've got some experience. I've been involved in some of this. And you know what we used to get trained in? De-escalation. That's what you're supposed to be good at. If you're really good at law enforcement, things roll off. People are cursing you right in the face, spitting at you, cursing you things. If they're not actively stabbing you or threatening you really in a real, way they're really going to harm you, you don't react to it. You let it all just roll on over you. Well, that's nice, sir. Okay, I'm gay. You still can't come in here. Whatever it is, you know what I mean? This is a private club, and I'm working the door, and you can't come in here. That's just, I'm sorry. You can call me whatever you want. So they could have, if the intent was to block the street, to not let the car move down the street, they could have put up a barrier, or they could have had a couple of guys out there or something. But it looked like it's one of those fungible areas. You can kind of roll through the street. There may have been a command given to stop and get out of your car or something like that. It's hard to really know. What we do know is that minutes before, she was actually saying, "Hey, I'm not mad at you, dude. Whatever. I think that maybe just got him even more. If you're that much of a machismo kind of guy and thinks you're in charge, if somebody starts kind of being nice and patronizing to you, that maybe gets you going even more. So he was probably mad. He was probably really triggered. And then we learned that he had done this before where a car dragged him. So he's in the habit of grabbing onto moving cars and getting dragged. He's in the habit of getting in the way of these moving car, people trying to damage, getting himself damaged by automobiles in these contentious zones. He seems to like it. But anyway, that aside, the thing is being spun out of control. I don't hear anyone. Where's the newscaster who comes on and says, man, you know what? All the facts aren't in. We've got two really good video clips that are going viral. One shows it looks like the car went from the side. One looks a little bit more like the cop was in front of the car. Either way, even if you're supporting that one clip where he's in front of the car, his voice never, he's not in danger. His voice does not indicate danger. After he calmly puts 3 bullets in her head, he calmly says, fucking bitch. Kind of like under his breath, kind of calmly. That's not a person who just went through a life-threatening thing with the car trying to ram him. And all these people trying to manufacture this story about the car trying to ram him. That is so dangerous. They're part of the big problem. It's horrible. It's horrible. So, I think I better end it there because this is gonna get too long. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Iran and Putin and stuff next. Okay, yeah. All right, so that's that. So this thing here with Renee Nicole Good is yet another really divisive thing that's happened to our culture. These divisive things, these divisive memes, let's consider them as memes, are getting put out into our culture. Your brain is being seeded with stuff. I remember there was one day on X where, I don't like seeing violence. I don't go back and click on violence. If there's a inflammatory headline, I try to stay away from it. But anyway, my thread was just filled up with violence, with petty violence. Lots of teens being mean to each other. A lot of it based on race, stuff like that. It'd be like, you'd see 3 black girls enter a fast food place and then be really rude to the white woman at the counter or something like that. And then they'd pull her hair or something. By the end of it, you were mad. Didn't take you long. You're like, man, it makes you mad. When you see someone grab someone, pull her hair, you're mad. And there were some that were white people ganging up on black kid. There's these black kids that ganged up on a white dude and took his clothes from him and brutalized him a little bit, made him walk. So there's a series of black on white, white on black violence triggering you. So they're buttering you up. They're getting you ready. Then one day while I was on the BART, X decides to show me for the first time the full clip of the shot of DeCarlos Brown stabbing Irina Zarutska, brutally just stabbing this white woman and say, look, I killed the white chick. Haha. Right? So this is all seems like it's set up. It's like the opposite of what Alex Haley was trying to do with Roots in the past, trying to heal each other, trying to learn, trying to grow, trying to get together as a nation, staple singers. And within the sort of black liberation movement was also a thing of be responsible for yourself. Don't just keep blaming everything on the whites. You do have some agency, your own destiny, and actually blacks that acknowledge that do better than the ones that just keep playing the victim card real hard. But anyway, so the victim card is something that the human race maybe not be able to survive. We're in the victim card phase right now. Who's the biggest victim? Who's the biggest lesbian in the room? Who's the biggest freaky tweaky in the room? Biggest furry, right? Can't be mainstream people anymore. You got to be a freaky tweaky. So this competition of victimhood is crazy. And what the Jews learned, hey, look, if we got the victim card now because this horrible thing happened to us in Europe called the Holocaust. And so anytime, if I want to just run all the banks in this town or whatever I want to do, if I can't get away with it, I'm going to call you an anti-Semite, right? If you say anything about me, you're talking about banks, that's anti-Semitism, right? So everything is now anti-Semitic, right? Because they're the hugest, the victim card, but they're also the biggest violent, rapey thugs. So the victim perpetrator, big guy with big chip on his shoulder, thinks all people bad to him, he often becomes perpetrator of crime. Alienated, perpetrator of crime, not dealing, not logical, not healing, right? Healing is saying, oh my God, this horrible thing happened to us. Horrible things have happened to everybody on earth at this point. You don't think horrible things have happened to Armenians? You don't think horrible things happen to ethnic Tartars? You don't think horrible things happen to white people? You don't think horrible things happen to Irish people? I mean, horrible. Everybody by now has been tried, enslaving your neighbor. I hate to say it's kind of a thing. Before Christianity, before white males, before whatever you want to blame it on now, it was a thing in this world, to kind of look over and go, oh my God, look at those people on the other side of the river there, right? They came over here and raided and stole some of our stuff. Let's go over there and just grab one of them, make them slave, and make them dig our ditch here, or kill them, So enslaving each other. Tribes over here in America, I talked to so many idiots that have romantic views of Native Americans. I love Native Americans. I am partially that, you know what I mean? Like, I have some of that in my history, you know what I mean? But to vilify all Native Americans or to romanticize them is equally dumb. Okay? There was slavery happening here on this continent before evil white people, sorry. Okay, they enslaved each other. Things happened. Some were really successful. You could actually say that the Mayans were really super successful. They were so successful that they collapsed, like the Romans. Right, that all happened here on this continent too. But anyway, so I forget where I was going with this, but this trend of blaming, like, oh, it's only, we're the victims and you're not, and it's really, everybody at this point has had some period in their history where they can identify as a victim, where they could look and say, yeah, you know what? They really were trying to kill us. The Spaniards that we encountered when we didn't have any gold, they were trying to actually kill us, the Spaniards, right? So now I hate all Spaniards, Spaniards, slave them, they slaved us, slave them, whatever. See, that's a wrong approach though, right? Now let's just heal, let's move beyond, let's move into a future where we're creating good things for all of us, rather than this tit for tat hate thing that's going on now. Now let's point the finger at each other. Before it was working class solidarity. Again, build something. I may not even like you. I may not like your style, whatever. I go to the meeting. I don't like that type of person, whatever, just as a matter of taste. Maybe I don't like, 40-something overweight Jewish women or something, right? That's fine. I still want them to have full rights. I don't want them to be suppressed. I don't want them to be hurt in any way. I want them to have equal chances to do everything I do. I don't even dislike that group. They're nice, But what I'm saying is, I might not like your style or whatever. You may not like my style. There's people that just viscerally hate me now. When I go out there, I haven't even, if I say something, then they hear my voice. That even confirms even more how much of a white man I am. They just hate me. Just, again, based on all externalities. But I got to forget where I was going to go with this. I had numbers written down, arrests, and from UK, 12,183 plus people arrested for online comments. All the Dems that said Putin had a bigger influence on the 2016 election than did Netanyahu are almost as credible as Trump, saying that Venezuela rigged the 2020 election. Yeah, man, what's up with Trump? Trump is crazy. My boy's is lost it. He's got people all getting advice from all over the place. He always was just kind of a petulant teen in a man's body. But anyway, he's really making some huge blunders now. And this narrative that the people are trying to attack ICE agents and that this car just tried to ram the ICE agents and stuff like that. If the ICE agents don't show up in town with masks on and start grabbing people, they're not going to have any problems. No one in America is out hunting ICE agents. ICE agents come to your town and grab old people and smash and hurt and do horrible things to people with masks on while not identifying themselves and while acting like jerks and treating American citizens like crap. They've been trained by the IDF. The IDF hates the Arabic, dirty Arabs. So they're trained to brutalize the population. The IDF is not policing its own people in Israel. The IDF is waging war against people that it culturally is trying to erase. And that's where these ICE agents get their training, from the IDF. They're all trained in crowd control and all this kind of stuff, and it's treat people like animals. You're not dealing with American citizens. See, that's the thing in the past. Cops knew American citizens were prime. Constitution, prime. American citizen, prime. Police officer, secondary to that. And so maintaining constitutional rights is number one. Protecting, serve and protect. Remember that on the car? To serve and protect. That's the way policing goes. Showing up and bullying, grabbing people off the streets, that's not serving and protecting the citizens. That's not policing. It's something else, right? But we're not having this dialogue. We're not talking about this. No one's talking like this. They're just talking past each other. Everyone's either like, she tried to ram him, she's awesome. He's awesome. He's a good guy. He's been dragged before. He's just trying to do his job. They're all just trying to do their job. That's why they don't wear name tags and cover their face and brutalize people and act like assholes. That's not doing your job. That's not doing the job. Doing the job is de-escalating. Doing the job is accomplishing whatever task you have to do. You have to protect a certain door. People can't go in and out. Ingress and egress. Control the ingress and egress. That's your job. Stand there and control that fucking door. And shut up. Your politics don't matter. What you think of who, that doesn't matter. If you're a police officer standing there at that door, you put your politics aside. And you treat everyone the same. If you're out there on the streets of America during protest, contentious zone, get your nerves up, get yourself calm, take some deep breaths. Don't shoot people. Why is that rocket science? Why is that hard to understand? Don't shoot people. Why couldn't J.D. Vance express some of that at the beginning of it all? It would do so much more if he came out and said, we really feel bad about what happened to Renee Nicole Good. What happened to Renee Nicole Good should never have happened. With the police procedures we have and the law check and our system, we're going to make sure this doesn't happen again. We apologize. We're sorry about this. Shouldn't have escalated to that level. Shouldn't have happened. We also feel sorry for him and his family, what trauma he has to go through, blah, blah. That's how you do that. You don't come out and then try to smear her, try to vilify her. That's just wrong. This two sides thing is going to kill us. I'm serious. There's two narratives. In fact, and we're just talking across each other. No one's meeting in the middle. The dialogue is not happening. We're not ever getting to the place where this is what I keep saying over and over again. We're never getting to the place where we can agree on what actually a virus is. Now, that's why we're in the dark ages. People said we're going to enter the dark ages. I said, that's crazy. You can't go backwards. But yeah, you can. You can burn down the whole library at Alexandria and just burn it all down and just curse all the knowledge that ever happened and launch yourself back into fascistic tribal warfare, if that's what you want to do. Humans have done it before, and it looks like we're doing it again. Whoever is winning from us hating each other and being confused all the time, we need to start talking about them someday instead of still talking about Trump all the time. I keep saying that over and over again. I had a bunch of things I really wanted to say here. Oh, God, Alex Jones, he's off the rocker right now. He's super triggered, Alex Jones. He's got his own little camp of followers over there. Calling the anti-ass protesters in Minneapolis. Crazed leftist rallies, arm leftist terrorists. See, that's not, oh my God, calling the protesters in Minneapolis. Now the people in Minneapolis, you got to understand, the woman's been shot. They're going to be pissed. But calling them crazed leftist rallies, calling them armed leftist terrorists, whatever. This is irresponsible language. They're Americans with valid concerns. And we got posse comitatus, habeas corpus, and the Constitution. They're all being violated by ICE right now. These agents that show up with masks on, bad, wrong. No mask. If any pig shows up with a mask on, it's wrong. Right away, it's wrong. Okay? Unless he's got COVID. Even then, doesn't matter. We've all had COVID. COVID's over. It's still being used as a psychological operation too. Different strains. They have the CDC wants to let you know the new currency. Now it's PBR .012.22. It went endemic in Africa, dudes. Grow a brain, okay? Years ago, COVID went endemic. Science doesn't work anymore. Brains don't work. Virology doesn't work. Viruses are actually our friends. Someday we're going to understand that. Don't weaponize viruses. Don't gain up viruses. Don't do that. Nature says no. Mother goddess, earth goddess, creator, Jesus, whatever your authority figure is, Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah. Listen, Jew, Jehovah says no to genetic engineering. You got that? So stop it. So most of it's happening in Israel. Most of the research is now happening in like Tel Aviv. It never really stopped. Obama tried to stop gain of function research. Anyway, I'm getting lost. Okay, we're gonna talk about Iran next. Okay. All right, so that's that. I covered that topic really well, right? Hey, all right. So much clarity.